Hi, this is Congressman Rick Larsen, and I want to give you an update about what's been going on in Congress as well as here in the district. The last 2 weeks has been a very tumultuous time for our country and for our region. The murder of George Floyd is something that we can't forget, and we can't forget Breonna Taylor or Ahmaud Arbery and many others who were victims of violence in our country. And we have to address the systemic racism in the United States and the racial injustice, and especially where that racial injustice overlaps with police violence. That's why this past week, House Democrats introduced the Justice in Policing Act. And on Wednesday of this week, we held a hearing in Washington, D.C., as well as online, to hear from a number of witnesses. Now, I'm not on that committee, but I was able to talk to local people, local community leaders, elected leaders, and even some local law enforcement about their ideas for police reform in this country. And I put those thoughts in a letter to the Committee on the Judiciary for inclusion in the Justice and Policing Act and inclusion in the discussion at the Judiciary Committee. And a few of those things that ended up being included were things that other people asked for as well. Things like banning racial profiling, prohibiting federal, state, and local law enforcement from racial and religious and discriminatory profiling, and mandating training for such profiling, training for implicit bias as an example, limiting the transfer, actually ending the transfer of military-grade equipment to state and local law enforcement, otherwise known as the 1033 program, some of you might know it as. Requiring federal police officers to use body cameras and dashboard cameras as well, and creating a nationwide police misconduct registry, as well as a registry for decertified officers and a national mandatory database for use of force, so that we can do a better job of understanding the patterns of police violence in this country. Now, we know that police officers, local law enforcement play an important part of our communities, an important part in community safety. And I honor those who are, most of them, who do a great job every day. But there are some who do not need to be on the job as well. And we need to have a strong Justice and Policing Act that also honors the women and men who have become victims of police violence. And we need to have the Justice and Policing Act that honors communities of color as well, and respects their voice and their concerns. So I hope you'll join me in supporting the Justice and Policing Act. And next week, I have another update for you on where we go from here after we have a chance to absorb the powerful testimony that was presented a couple days ago to the Committee on Judiciary. So thanks again for listening, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Thanks.